by former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Fazl.
Hello there, you're with CNN News 18. I'm Maha Siddiqui. On CNN News 18, I'm Maha Siddiqui. Over the next...
We find Indian authorities have used new tactics in their disinformation campaign. An English news channel named CNN News 18 said falsely the Taliban Supreme Leader Abdullah Akhundzada died in a suicide attack in Pakistan in 2020. This kind of fake news quite often makes an appearance on CNN News 18.
What is CNN News 18? Is that the same CNN who runs fake news about Xinjiang?
Yes and no. CNN News 18 is an Indian news channel affiliated with CNN. CNN provides training and international news service, but its daily editorial is run by TV18, an India broadcasting network.
Why is CNN putting its name on an Indian news media outlet where fake news abounds?
Pew Research shows CNN earns about 60% of its revenue by providing affiliate license to news agencies like that.
In the western part of China, from Chumulama to Pamir, China and India share contested border areas.
Over the in-hospital area, intense battle is emerging.
If you search Twitter for information about 2020 China-India border conflicts,
the results you get are likely to be from accounts claiming there were over 40 Chinese deaths in the conflict, 10 times than the factual figure of 4.
Our investigation finds this was not the result of a singular mistake by some sloppy media outlets, but a coordinated disinformation campaign carried out by multiple knowing actors. These inflated reports only serve to boost Indians' nationalism. Let's take a look.
Reports of 43 Chinese troops killed began doing the rounds soon after the Indian side reported the deaths of 20 soldiers in the dispute. DD News credits information to agency reports.
Following that, Hindi media outlets like Indian TV, APB News blindly claimed the same, and the disinformation began cycling around the country. We talked to Maitreya Bhargava, who is a media observer and political commentator. We see a lot of stories in Indian media have anomalous sources. What's happening here?
The vast majority of the coverage in the Indian media today is grossly anti-China and presents only the Indian government side of the story. The Indian government often operates through unofficial leaks. Now they will leak some information to the Indian media which cannot be attributed to an official source. This is a common avenue of information dissemination in countries such as India and the US, which have quote-unquote free media. Freedom of the press has no relation to facts. Freedom of the press has no relation to the truth. In fact, I often say that the Indian media is free means it is free to lie.
Social media influencers jump on the bandwagon, fanning the flames. Major Gauravaya, with 1.2 million followers, Indian TV anchor Rajat Sharma, they tweeted the same completely incorrect information, distorting the true scale and impact of the event.
But yes, there is misinformation, particularly in Indian social media. There is lots of misinformation about China. Well, there are elements of it which are coordinated.
This demonstrates how fake news gains momentum after being promoted by multiple channels. Among the actors are media outlets, social media influencers, and politicians, all blindly promoting disinformation.
If you trace the source of piece of disinformation, you will likely find the Indian government is behind it. Liu Zongyi, a Chinese scholar who has spent years researching about disinformation from India, shares his insights.
BJP and RSS are well-organized political parties or political groups. Both of them attach very importance to propaganda. In the recent years, a lot of false information of fake news about China and Pakistan are from the mass media controlled by RSS or BJP.
It is an open secret that BJP's IT cell pays money to PR companies who in turn use social media influencers to coordinate the timings and hashtags for their latest fake news targets.
China is not the only target of Indian disinformation. India's authorities have used fake media networks to extend influence in the region and beyond.
According to an EU Disinfolab investigation, an entire network of more than 715 fake news media outlets has resurrected people, think tanks, and NGOs to impersonate regular media and run negative content about Pakistan and China.
I think in the long run, India's behavior of making fake news or false information about China and Pakistan will damage its own credit in the world.
For the Indian government, discrediting neighboring countries it sees as enemies has become a handy way to divert attention away from domestic problems like Muslim hate crimes and a failed COVID-19 response.
The international image is obviously affected, but also when the Indian government primes its population to be against a country, right? What happens is they box themselves in and they restrict their negotiating options. They restrict their own ability to compromise in negotiations with that country.
The disinformation operation may bode well for the temporary extension of certain politicians' careers, but it further damages India's international image, only to sow fear and confusion in a world in a desperate want of truth and peace.